All right, it's time for some Super Halo Brother wisdom for the front office of the Angels, for the players, and for Artie Moreno himself. So, Artie, pay attention. It's time to get locked on with Mike and John, and this is Locked On Angels.
You are Locked On Angels, your daily Los Angeles Angels podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Thanks for making Locked On Angels your first listen of the day. You can find us anywhere you get your podcasts, including Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and SiriusXM by searching Locked On Angels. And if you want to give back to the Super Halo Bros for all the Angel content, here's what you can do. Leave us a rate and a review on Apple Podcasts. We love 5 stars. Thank you very much. If you're watching on YouTube, hit that thumbs up button. And if you're not subscribed, please subscribe and become a Locked On everydayer. And whether you're watching or listening, come over to YouTube, leave a comment. It's one of the best ways to get in touch with us and be a part of the conversation. And today's show is brought to you by FanDuel. You can make every moment more with FanDuel. And right now, new customers get $150 in bonus bets with any winning $5 moneyline bet. That's $150 if your team wins. Visit FanDuel.com/LockedOn today to get started.
Thanks for being here for this episode of Locked On Angels, where it's your team every day. You've got the Frisch Brothers here with you, a.k.a. the Super Halo Bros. Say it with us now. My name is John, and that's my brother Mike.
And my name is Mike, and that's my brother John. And Johnny,
yeah,
is it Christmas at your house? Because it is November 1st, and so it's Christmas at my house.
You guys go hard like the minute Halloween is over. You guys are ready to go.
Dude, the best time of the year. I probably drive everybody nuts in our neighborhood, but I don't care.
It's not like your neighbors who have their Halloween up all week or all year.
They
long,
are Halloweeners all year long.
Halloweeners! Hey, it's our second off season here at Locked On Angels with you, so we're looking forward to, one, the fact that the World Series will be over soon, and then, things are going to get pretty hot in here. Hot stove, baby. And so we're looking forward to the hot stove being hot and ready to go. And so we'll be covering all your Angels news Monday through Friday for the next few weeks. And then about mid-December, we'll go down to 3 episodes, but we'll still have all the Angels coverage that you're looking for. On today's show, Mike, you and I, as longtime fans, want to share our Super Halo Brothers wisdom with the front office, with the players, and also Artie Moreno.
Please listen.
And here's the thing. Here's how we've broken this down. We have kind of a statement and a fill-in-the-blank answer. And I'm looking forward to this format. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. And so we would also love to get your answers to these questions as well. So whether you're on the audio side or you're watching on TV or on YouTube, come on over to the YouTube video for today's episode and comment below, because we'd love to have you in on the conversation. But Mike, let's start wisdom for the front office. What can we share with Perry and company?
All right, Johnny, fill in this blank. In order to be successful in 2024, Perry must focus on blank.
Ooh, I like it. How about the plan? Is there a plan, or is this team just going to aimlessly believe that they're going to the playoffs once again? Yeah, are they a team without navigation? Are they a team without Google Maps? Because if they are, they're going to end up in the very same spot they were last year. I think that they need synergy from the front office down, and they need a plan that everybody is on board with, Mike. So to me, in order to be successful in 2024, Perry must focus on the plan, my friend. What do you say?
I say Perry must focus on baseball. And what I mean by that is he can't manage what's going on with Artie. He can't spend all of his time trying to answer all of the TMZ questions about Shohei Ohtani if he comes back. Perry needs to focus on baseball. And when I mean focus on baseball, I also mean he needs to allow the people around him to focus on baseball. So no books, no phone calls down to the dugout. Like, let's find somebody that actually is going to be helpful to this organization in the dugout, to where you're not having to call up and go, why'd you bring in that guy and not the other guy, right?
Yeah.
Like, I want him to focus on baseball, because I think Perry is a baseball guy. And so flex on that and let baseball people around you do baseball things. All right? Got it?
All right. Sounds good.
That's what you need to listen to. Yeah.
Hey, how about this one, Mike? A new manager needs to be good at blank. What do you say?
Identifying the strengths of the players that he has. And you talked about the plan. I think that they need to, if they have a plan, they need to implement that plan and allow their players to adjust and pivot and fit into that plan. And if they don't, then find out how you're going to use those guys. On yesterday's show, we talked about the Diamondbacks and how their front office said, If these guys don't fit, then we need to find a way to use their gifting to make them fit into what we're trying to do. And if not, then let's get some new players. And I think that Perry needs to allow his manager to focus on, what am I going to do with a Mickey Moniak? What am I going to do with a Mike Trout? Where am I going to put a Luis Rengifo in the lineup and on defense? So I think that the new manager needs to be good at knowing what to do with his players. What say you?
I say a new manager needs to be good at building a culture. I've said it many times in the whole conversation about the managerial search. These players need a manager that they are ashamed to lose for. And I think that it starts with the kind of culture that you bring to the clubhouse. Make a culture where you don't want to disappoint dad, right? Like you don't want to let him down.
Love it.
And I think that if you focus on the clubhouse culture and make it a camaraderie like we've seen with Texas, like we've seen with the Diamondbacks, I think that you will have a lot of success as a manager because these guys want to play for you, and they want to play for you because of the energy, the enthusiasm, and the attitude that you bring to the clubhouse. So that's what I think. A new manager needs to be good at building clubhouse culture.
All right, Johnny, fill in this blank. The best kind of free agent for the Halos is a free agent that blank
is right for this team. I know that there's going to be a lot of talk about starting pitching and the Angels. I think a starting pitcher is right for this team, Mike, because they need somebody to step up and step in and guide the young starting pitching core that we have along, because I don't think that the combination of Detmer, Sandoval, Canning, Anderson, and Chase Silseth is going to be enough to put them over the edge. I think that they need a solidified guy who can be the number one in this rotation. Again, that goes back to, what do they plan on doing this year? Do they plan to compete? Well, in my opinion, unfortunately, yes, they do plan on being competitive this season, but that's usually just GM speak for, we're going to be competitive. We're going to be in the race. And because they don't want to lose anybody. They don't want to lose fans. They don't want to lose any energy for the team. But to me, it would be a big mistake to think that you're going to be this playoff bound team if you don't put the right pieces in place. So again, a free agent that's good for this team, I think, is a starting pitcher. But again, that is more to do with the fact that they need a good starting pitcher to guide the young staff along versus this is the guy that's going to get us to the playoffs. Both can happen.
Yeah.
But I don't think that the expectation should be, we're going all the way, baby. I think you need a good ace to guide a young pitching staff along.
I'm going to fill in the blank with a free agent that wants to be here. And Brandon Drury comes to mind immediately because he really wanted to be here, and look at the season that he produced.
Yeah.
And I want free agents that want to be here. I don't want another Anthony Rendon. I want free agents that want to be here, and they're going to play really well, like Vlad Guerrero, Torrey Hunter. And it's a shame that I have to go 14, 15 years into the past to find free agents that were incredibly successful with us, because we haven't had too much success in signing other guys.
Vladdy came on in 2004, so that would have been the 2003 offseason. That's 20 years ago. That's 20 years from now,
Good
Mike.
grief. Wow, that was a long time ago. All right, Johnny, fill in the blank. Re-signing Ohtani is a blank idea.
Whew, I'm going to get some heat for this one. But I'm going to say it. Because this is how I feel about the team. This has nothing to do with Ohtani and what he brings to the table. Mike, I think re-signing Ohtani is a bad idea. And maybe if they have the right kind of contract that works for him and the Angels, I'm concerned about, again, what the vision of this team is. For me, it's no expectations. I don't think that they need to put the pressure on themselves to get to the playoffs. And that's all they've done for the last 10 years. At first it was, we got to get Mike Trout to the playoffs. And now it's, we got to get Mike Trout and Shohei Ohtani to the playoffs, because those guys deserve to be in the playoffs.
Yeah.
But they have put an immense amount of pressure on themselves. And the fact that they have to get those guys to the playoffs means that there's no time for this team to cook. There's no time for this team to marinate. There's no time for guys like Shawnuel and Neto and Ohapi to develop a little bit more in the minors so that they can come up and do incredible things at the majors. Now, that's not to say that they aren't already doing incredible things at the majors. I just think that with the needed DH spot and the potential to play different players in that spot and get them off their feet, I think at the end of the day, for this team, re-signing Ohtani is a bad idea. And again, that has nothing to do with Ohtani. It's not like he's bad for this team.
No.
I think having him and his bat in the lineup is the kind of team that they need to get somewhere. But again, I just don't think the Angels are ready for it. That's my opinion. What about you? Re-signing Ohtani is a blank idea.
A financially strategic idea.
Ooh.
Because if you bring him back, you know what you're going to get in the hitter.
Mm-hmm.
He's not going to pitch. And so I think that it's all about finances. I think that they're going to continue to keep the media around. They're going to continue to keep all of the advertisement around. And so I think that this would be more of an Arte decision than it would be a Perry decision. And so I don't know if it would be a good idea or not. I think financially it would help the team and it would draw eyes and put butts in seats.
Yeah.
But I don't know how it would have an impact on the team in general. It'd be great if the team was good and Ohtani just would make them great. That would be fantastic. But as you pointed out, they haven't been great at building a team around Shohei like they should have been.
You think with all the revenue that Ohtani brings in for the team that they would be willing to spend more and go over a luxury tax and build something around him. I'm just not confident that they're going to do that. Mike, losing Ohtani would feel like blank.
Losing Ohtani would feel like a Cardinals fan felt like when Pujols left St. Louis.
Okay.
And I think that they were sad. I think they were bummed. But I also think that they saw the potential and the front office had the potential to make some really good moves. And they made some really good moves and used that resource for better things. And so I think we'll feel like the Cardinals fans felt. But I think it'll be similar to, and this is tough because they're not the same player. But when Rysel got traded, that resource was used for two other really good players.
Mm-hmm.
And so as much as I would love to have Shohei and I want to see him play out his career in Anaheim and I want to watch him play, I think that Angel fans, longtime everydayer fans are going to go, I think they could use that resource in better ways. It's going to be so terrible to watch him with another team. It'll also be so awesome to see him if he makes the playoffs with another team. And then if he crushes us, that's typically what happens with Angels that sign with other teams. So I think losing Ohtani, we're going to feel like the Cards felt when Pujols left. What about you, Johnny?
Yeah, losing Ohtani would feel like heartbreak because he's our guy and we've been rooting for him ever since he got here. And to see him on another team wearing another uniform is going to be tough. And again, I know it feels like I'm talking out of both sides of my mouth here, but the fact is, like, as much as I want Ohtani to stay, the Angels are not cut out to have him on this team right now. And maybe they'll surprise me if they do re-sign him. And don't get me wrong, if they do re-sign him, I'm going to celebrate, and we'll celebrate here on Locked On Angels. I think it's a tremendous get. And to me, it speaks about like what's going to happen in the future with Ohtani, because next year with the Angels, I feel like they could be on the precipice of something great. And if Ohtani's part of that, kind of like what we talked about with the Rangers, like they signed Semien and Seager knowing, hey guys, we're not going to be good this year.
Yeah.
But if they can continue to build off that, then maybe bringing Ohtani back is a good thing. So maybe I'm changing my own mind right now because that seems to be what's happening. Hey, Mike, coming up on Locked On Angels, we've got some wisdom for Arte Moreno, and we'd love to share that with him. So tune in, Arte, because we know you in the front office listen to this show. You can't hide from us, right? So we'll get into all of that conversation coming right up.
Today's show is brought to you by FanDuel. The NFL season is in full swing, and you can join in with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Right now, new customers like you can get $150 in bonus bets with any winning $5 money line bet. Johnny, that's $150 if your team wins. So if you're making some bets on some teams this weekend to win, are there a couple of teams that you're thinking like, oh, they're for sure going to win? It's just almost like an automatic win. Come on. What do you got?
Man,
what do you got?
Automatic win. I mean, off the top of my head, I'm always rooting for my Niners, but the way that they've been playing lately, Mike, it's, I'm a little iffy on them right now. So I don't know if I would be so quick to choose them this weekend.
Well, the good news is
they got to buy. They got to buy. That's right. That's right. They're on a bye week.
So you win no matter what. How about the Eagles? Let's go with Mike Trout and let's go with the Eagles, right? Like,
yeah, there you go.
He's a huge fan of the Eagles, and they typically have a win. And then, Detroit looks good. They won on Monday Night Football, and so maybe they're going to be a team that could win this weekend. Whatever team you select, if they win, man, you could win $150 with just a simple $5 money line bet. So if you've been thinking about joining FanDuel, there's no better time to do it than right now. Get in on all the action. The app's easy to use. There's a wide range of betting options, including the spreads, player props, over-unders, and more. You can visit FanDuel.com/lockedon right now to get involved in the NFL season. And remember, FanDuel is the official partner of the NFL.
Thanks for making Locked On Angels your first listen of the day. Hey, Locked On Everydayers, don't forget to join us this Friday for Fan Mail Friday. Get in our mailbag. There's plenty of space for you in the mailbag. It gets hot in there, but, just FYI. But you can reach out to us at Locked On Angels on Twitter and at Super Halo Bros on Twitter and Instagram. Of course, you can always reach us on our voicemail line. Leave us a 30-second voicemail. We'll do our best to get it on the show. Leave your questions for us for Fan Mail Friday coming this Friday on Locked On Angels.
All right, how about some wisdom for the players, John? Fill in the blank. If Trout stays healthy in 2024, it's because he did blank.
Everything he could possibly do to avoid freak injuries, Mike. He's wrapped himself in bubble wrap. No, honestly, though, I commend him for recognizing the fact that, he had the calf strain in 2022. This year, 21.
Yeah.
Last year, it was the back issue. And so he did everything he could to take care of that. And he said he's felt the best he's felt in a long time. And then he has the hamate bone fracture, which is really out of control. So maybe I should say it's because he did not play golf over the offseason because
no twisting of the arms, no twisting of the wrists, right?
No breaking any more hamate bones.
Top golf is out, bro. He can't do it anymore.
He's got another hand, and so I don't want that hamate bone to break either. So
that would be terrible.
Mike, if
good grief.
It's just that's our luck, right? If Trout stays healthy in 2024, it's because he did what?
He did exactly what he did last year. And his body was healthy. He said he's felt better than he's ever felt. And so he did exactly what he did last year. And I want to see him continue to stretch and have all the people around him that he needs to have around him so that he can be on the field. Johnny, Trout on the field is a game changer for this team. I know that there were some critiques and there were some complaints about him swinging and missing, but Trout on this field for 150 plus games, 140 plus games is good for this team, especially as this team is shifting to a lot of younger guys. I think Trout being there and on the field is so important and so necessary. Johnny, starting pitching staff, they will be better next season when they do blank.
When they do what the new pitching coach tells them to do, Mike.
You mean the pitching coach can talk to him and tell him what to do?
Yeah, the pitching coach will have a good strategy for them. You know what? That I'm going to scratch that. And what I am going to say is that they get more aggressive because there were too many 0-2 counts that went to 3-2, too many wishy-washy pitches that weren't going right after the hitter. They were just too afraid. And so I think they need a bulldog mentality. And I think that they need to attack the zone against hitters more because they have good stuff. And if you track the movement on their pitches, you just have to trust, number one, that, for example, you throw your slider and a guy makes contact with it, he's going to hit it into the ground. He's going to hit it to shortstop. He's going to hit it to second. Like, that's the kind of stuff they need to do. They need to trust in themselves and, again, have an attack mentality and have that bulldog mentality. So I feel like that was like 4 fill in the blanks right there.
Yeah.
But what about you? The starting pitching staff will be better next season when they do what?
Whatever is necessary to get the final out, because they had 2 outs and then there was a walk, then there was a hit.
Yeah.
Similar to what you just said. And they can't do that anymore.
No.
It's time to stop. It's time to not nitpick. It's time to be focused. And so they need to focus on that and that alone. And that I think that'll bring success next season.
Hey, the bullpen needs to improve blank in order to be successful in 2024.
I'm going to say confidence, John. And when I say confidence, they need to improve their confidence in order to be successful. They need to know their role and shut their mouth. Right?
I was waiting for it.
Yeah, they need to know their role. And then when in the off days, they need to prepare like they would as if they're in the game. And I'm going to go back to Carlos Estevez and how he said when he was in the off days, he didn't want to waste his bullets, and he realized that wasn't a great decision. They need to be confident in their role and then start asking the people that they could ask. Get the Troy Percivals around them and get the Frankie Rodriguez's around them. And what do you do? What did you do?
Pitching
I
coach,
want to do
pitching
that.
coach,
Yes.
bullpen coach.
I want to do what you did. They need to do that. These boys are good and they need to be confident. I think Soriano is going to be a huge piece in this bullpen. I think Ben Joyce, even Sam Bachman, I think they're going to be huge pieces. They just need to be confident in their role and go out there and do what they do well. And again, going back to the previous question, get that final out. That's what your role is. What about you, Johnny? The bullpen needs to improve blank in order to be successful in 2024.
They need to improve their stamina. And what I mean by that is you got to be able to go out two games in a row, 2 days in a row. You got to be able to go back-to-back games.
Absolutely.
We can't be babying them. We can't be pretending that they can't pitch on a Tuesday night and not pitch on a Wednesday night. Like, we got to stop doing that.
I actually love that. I love that because it's so annoying when you have, oh, well, he went back-to-back nights and because he threw 20 pitches this night and 10 pitches that night.
That might not even be their decision. And we know at the beginning of last season, Carlos Estevez was like, no, let me go out there again. I can do it.
It's more management than it is them. Yes.
So to say stamina makes it sound like it's their fault, but the truth is they probably have the stamina to do it. So they need to improve accessibility. I don't know how to say it, but basically it's they need to be trusted with the front office and management to be able to go back-to-back days, because it's just ridiculous how much they are, told what they can and cannot do.
Yeah.
If these guys go out there and pitch, they're professionals. They can go back-to-back days. And the reason why the Angels had struggled so much is because a lot of these guys didn't have minor league options anymore. Like Jaime Barria, we had to carry him all season.
Yeah.
And so you couldn't get a fresh arm in the bullpen. So you compound that with the fact that they're sitting there going, well, I don't know if he can go out today. He did go out last night. Forget it.
Yeah.
These guys have been around the game a long time. They can pitch back-to-back days. Mike, Ohtani must do blank as a leader of this team in 2024.
Ohtani must do whatever is necessary to get what's inside of him outside of him into the culture of this team as a leader in 2024. He needs to be vocal. He needs to be aggressive. He needs to be loud. He needs to not allow things to be pushed off. I know he's young and I know he hasn't had a full season yet, but I think it's time for Logan Ohtani to step up and be the leader. We've talked often about Mike Trout, but Mike Trout, I just don't think has that vocal ability that some leaders need to have. And I think Logan Ohtani is one of two guys that could do that in 2024. The other guy is Zach Neto. So he needs to do whatever he can do to get what's inside of him outside of him. I want this team to be so disappointed watching the other team celebrate getting to the playoffs. I want this team to sit in the dugout being bummed that they didn't perform. I want that. Get that out of you, Logan, and get that into your teammates. Johnny, what about you? Logan Ohtani must do blank as a leader of this team in 2024.
He must do more behind the plate as a leader of this team in 2024. Mike, we talked about his defense compared to, Gabriel Marino and Adley Rutschman, and talked about the fact that Ohtani actually has some defensive improvements to make. And I think if he makes those improvements, I also think it's going to provide some cohesion with the starting staff and the bullpen. You got to be able to trust the catcher behind the plate to throw the pitch that you want to throw. And I think Ohtani has a lot of defensive improvements to make. He's got to work on that pop time and that throw to second and be, Real Muto, like be that guy and know that like, if you run on Ohtani, you're in trouble. And that's going to do a lot for the starting staff. That's going to do a lot for Ohtani. And again, the best managers in MLB are always catchers, Mike. And if he's going to wear 14 like Sosha did, I want to see him step up and manage the game from behind the dish. That's something that I think Logan Ohtani would really succeed at. Again, improve behind the dish for Logan Ohtani.
How about some wisdom for Arte Moreno? Boy, does he need some wisdom, right? So, Johnny, first question. Fill in this blank. Arte, as the owner, will work if blank.
He stays home, Mike.
Yes.
Sign the checks, stamp whatever you need to stamp. But Arte, as the owner, will work if he stays home and doesn't get involved. And look, here's my thing. I know that we criticize Arte for getting involved too much. If I'm the owner of a baseball team, I'm certainly going to go to my GM and be like, hey, what do you think? What do you think about Trey Turner? Do you think we should go and get him? And like, of course, like as a fan of baseball and as the owner of the team, that's something you want to do. But when it comes to making baseball decisions, you got to trust your people to make those decisions. So to me, Arte as the owner only works if he stays home and doesn't get involved. What do you say, Mike? Arte as the owner will work if
he adopts the Phillies owner's approach during the playoffs. Did you see that guy throwing baseballs into the crowd, running on top of the dugout, cheering on the fans, wearing his jersey? That's the owner that I think is the best kind of owner. It doesn't mean that he's not asking questions behind the scenes and doing some of those things and saying, hey, what about this and what about that? But the type of owner that we need in Anaheim is what Arte was when he first got here. Very hands-off and like, hey, this is great. Let's sit up in the booth and let's hang out. That's the type of owner that we need. And that it'll work if Arte can do that. The question is if Arte can do that, right? And so,
felt like he was a lot like that early on when he bought the team. I know he's not running around doing stuff, but like he was
more that guy than he has been in the last 10 years, for sure.
He was a man of the people, I think. I mean, he was out meeting fans and shaking hands and taking pictures and all that stuff. And very rarely do you see that. Even in spring training, you don't see him too often anymore. So, yeah, I think he very much was a man of the people back then. Mike, being a fan of the Halos in the early 2000s felt like blank.
We could rule the world because that team was so much fun. Those teams were great. You had an expectation that we were going to be good. Big Papi said that when he was talking about the Angels. I think it was before a game during maybe the divisional series, or maybe they were talking about Ohtani. But Big Papi said, when I was with the Red Sox, we knew that we would have to go to Anaheim and we would have to play a really tough team. It's not like that anymore. And so it just felt like we were the champs. We were strong. We were good. We had a lot of expectations and a lot of momentum, and it was really fun to be a fan. What about you, Johnny? I know it was when you were a bit younger, but being a fan of the Halos in the early 2000s felt like
we turned a corner. It felt like all right, this team finally knows how to be good, and they finally figured out how to put a good team on the field. And the way that they did that was through homegrown talent and having a really strong manager who had an identity and a vision and a plan, Mike. Like we talked about the Diamondbacks yesterday and how similar they were to that 0-2 team. Well, the Angels didn't stop at 0-2 with that kind of play. Like they, of course, had their heavy hitters in like Vlad Guerrero and whatnot, but you had guys running all over the field in your who am I thinking of? The funny name.
Sean Figgins or Reggie Willits or
Sean Figgins is one, but that's a perfect example. I'll just go with that. Choney, right? Because he Chone.
Yep.
That's not who I'm thinking of, but we've talked about him on the show before. But yeah, you had guys running all over the field like Sean Figgins, and they didn't get away from that identity. So for me, it felt like they finally turned a corner, and then they got away from what made them, and that's why there's such a longing for those decades. I think not just because the Angels were super good, but because they had an identity. They were something. They were the team that played small ball. They were the team that bunted and advanced runners. They were that team, and it feels like that's gone away. Mike, being a fan since 2010 feels like
the team's missing something. And that's the problem, is that I think that if you let a good leader get his hands or her hands in this team, they could really change the trajectory of this team. You just got to give them permission to do that. It always felt like they're missing something. Stop getting Josh Hamilton and go and get somebody that you need, or maybe re-sign Torrey Hunter, right? That's been the problem the last really 10 to 15 years. What about you, Johnny? Being a fan of this team since 2010 feels like
throwing darts at a dartboard and trying to hit the bullseye, Mike. And you're not very good at darts because you haven't hit the bullseye. And this team since 2010 has been making moves that like, oh, maybe if we just add like Vernon Wells, we'll make it. Maybe if we sign Josh Hamilton, we'll make it. Like, it's just they have been, blindly throwing darts at the dartboard for the last 15 years. And it's frustrating. Like, again, there's no game plan. There's no vision. And it feels like they're just swinging and at anything and everything, and it's not fun. In my mind. Yeah.
All right, Johnny. Last question. My mind will change about Arte when he does blank.
Ooh, that's good. When I don't know, treats employees fairly, treats minor leaguers fairly,
Mhm.
that kind of stuff.
Mhm.
No, I think what it is when he does sell the team, Mike, because to me that's the ultimate. Like, okay, I know that I can't do this. I know that this team isn't going to be successful under me. And to be honest, like the joy that we had last season when he said he was going to sell and then it went away, like there was a moment there it was like, okay, he's recognizing and has enough self-awareness that this team needs to move on and he can't be part of that future.
Yeah.
And so the disappointment there for me was that he decided to return. So
Yeah.
when he does sell the team, I think that's going to be the ultimate moment of self-awareness. What about you?
I don't want to be redundant, so I'm gonna change and give a different answer. My mind will change about Artie when he does what every fan should do: enjoy this team, and stop trying to milk it for every dollar and every penny. Enjoy this team. Let baseball people do what baseball people do. Enjoy this team. It's why you bought the team, right, Artie? It's why you bought the team. So enjoy this team. That's the best thing that I think he can do if he's not going to sell.
Hey, thanks for making Locked On Angels your first listen of the day. Hey, Locked On Everydayers, we're here every Monday through Friday for all your Angels content, breaking news, and much more. Get in on the conversation. You can do that by getting at us at Locked On Angels on Twitter, at Super Halo Bros on Twitter and Instagram. Mike, what do we have on deck for tomorrow's show?
Well, we all saw earlier this week that C-Rod was put on waivers and he went to the Diamondbacks.
Yes.
Johnny, I think, personal opinion, I'm going to share with you tomorrow, but I think there's a strategy to that. And I'm going to share that with you, and I want your thoughts on it. And Locked On Everydayers, I want your thoughts on it tomorrow on Locked On Angels.
I have no idea where you're going with that, but I'm on board. All right, friends, we hope you come back for that conversation tomorrow. Until then, my name is John, and that's my brother Mike.
And my name is Mike, and that's my brother John.
All right, friends, thanks for being here, and we'll see you back here tomorrow.
Not the first time you wouldn't know where I'm going with something, right?
No, never. I never do. I never know where we're going.